My cousin demanded I pay for his wedding, claiming, "You have a good job, so it's only fair." When I refused, he scoffed, "Then you're not invited." I smiled and said, "Perfect, I'll save thousands." 2 months later, his wedding got canceled because he had no money. He called me begging, "Please help." I replied, "Sorry, I'm busy enjoying the trip I took with the money I didn't waste on you." I'm 34, live in Denver, work in IT, and live pretty modest. I don't drive a flashy car, I don't wear expensive clothes, but I save. I work a lot, and I don't waste money. I built my life from scratch after getting out of a rough childhood. My parents weren't poor, but they weren't rich either. We had to work for everything. Then there's Ray, my cousin, 2 years younger than me. Same neighborhood, very different lives. While I was studying and working night shifts at a pizza place in high school, Ray was skipping classes and bragging about how he didn't need school. He was the kind of guy who always had a scheme going on. One week he was starting a clothing brand, next week he was flipping sneakers, then he wanted to be a life coach. I stayed away from it all. We'd see each other during holidays, and even though he never had anything going for him, he'd always manage to act smug. "What's the point of working like a dog, man? You ever even lived?" he said to me once while high at a family barbecue. I let it go. Fast forward to last year. Ray gets engaged to Kayla. She's sweet, kind of soft-spoken, seemed like she really believed in Ray. Poor girl. The engagement party was awkward. Everyone kept whispering about how Ray didn't have a job. Kayla's parents were polite but distant. You could tell they didn't think highly of him either. After the party, Ray corners me. "Hey man, can I talk to you real quick?" I should have walked away, but I didn't. He pulled me aside and said, "Look, I'll be real with you. Kayla wants this big wedding. Her mom's been pressuring her. We're short. Like, real short. And you're doing good, right?" "Doing okay," I said, slow and careful. "Well, we figured you could help. Just the venue and catering. I mean, you've got a solid job. It's nothing to you." I stared at him. "Wait, you want me to pay for your wedding?" "Not all of it. Just like 15, 20 grand. Come on, man. You know it's not a big deal for you." I actually laughed. I thought he was joking, but he wasn't smiling. I said, "Ray, no. That's insane." He raised his eyebrows like I just kicked his dog. "Why not?" "Because it's your wedding. You want a big day, you pay for it." He muttered something under his breath, then louder said, "I always knew you were selfish." I shrugged. Better selfish than stupid. That's when he snapped. "You know what? Forget it. You're not even invited. Don't bother showing up." I smiled. Perfect. I'll save thousands. I left that night knowing I wouldn't see Ray for a while. What I didn't know is how fast karma would hit him. 2 months go by. I don't hear a word from anyone in that side of the family. Then, one afternoon, I'm getting ready for a trip I'd been planning for a year. Week off. Cabin on the Oregon coast. Just me, the ocean, and silence. Phone rings. It's Ray. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rings again. And again. I finally answer. "Hey," he says. Voice low. Shaky. "What's going on?" "It's bad, man," he says. "The wedding's off." I lean on the counter, calm. "Oh yeah. We couldn't get the money together. Kayla's parents helped a bit, but not enough. Venue canceled on us. Caterer pulled out. She's pissed. Her mom's blaming me. Her dad won't even talk to me." I stay quiet. Then he says, "I know we had our thing. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you could help now? We're thinking just a small courthouse thing. Real simple. Nothing fancy. Maybe like 2 grand. You'd be saving us." I waited a few seconds. "Ray, I'm sorry. I'm busy. I'm about to enjoy the trip I paid for with the money I didn't waste on you." He said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Completely," and hung up. But it didn't end there. After I hung up, I figured that was it. Lesson learned. Move on. But 2 days into my trip, I get a text from my mom. Just one line, "Call me." It's about Ray. I almost didn't. I was sitting on the deck with a cup of coffee, watching the fog roll over the waves. Peaceful. But something about the way she worded it made me nervous. I called her. She didn't say hello. Just jumped right in. "Why did you refuse to help Ray?" I blinked. "Excuse me." "He told everyone you laughed in his face and said you hoped the wedding would fail." I stood up. "What? That's not what happened." "Well, that's what he's telling the family. He came by your Aunt Marlene's yesterday. Said you mocked him. Called him a loser. Said you'd never help trash like him." "That's a lie." She sighed. "I figured. But people are mad. Your aunt is furious. Your uncle too. They're saying you turned your back on family." "Mom," I said slowly, "Ray demanded $20,000 from me. Not asked. Demanded. Then disinvited me when I said no." She didn't answer at first. "Then I know. But not everyone knows the full story. And now it's spreading like wildfire. Your cousin Max called me. Said Ray's staying with him now because Kayla kicked him out. That stopped me cold. Kicked him out. She found out he lied about having a job lined up. He told her he had one starting after the honeymoon. Turns out he never even applied. Just told her that so she wouldn't back out before the wedding. She lost it. Her parents told her she'd be crazy to marry him. Damn. Then Mom said something that changed everything. Oh, and he said you ruined his life. That if you'd just helped like family should, none of this would have happened." I laughed, bitter. Of course he did. But deep down, I knew what he was doing. He wasn't just broke, he was spiraling. And he needed someone to blame. So he picked me. A week after I got back from Oregon, I saw it for myself. I stopped by my aunt's house to drop off a birthday card for her. I wasn't planning to go in. Just a quick drop. But as I walked up, the door flew open. It was Marlene. "You've got nerve showing up here," she snapped. I blinked. "Hi to you too. You think money makes you better than the rest of us?" I looked at her, stunned. Where is this coming from? Ray's a good boy. He made mistakes, sure. But he loves Kayla. He was trying to give her a good life. By lying to her? By asking me for $20,000 like I owe him something. She flinched. That part she didn't know, clearly. "Don't believe everything Ray tells you," I said. "He used you. Like he uses everyone." She didn't respond. Just closed the door. But the damage was done. Word kept spreading. Cousins stopped replying to texts. A few unfriended me on social media. Max, the cousin Ray was staying with, sent me a message. "Could have saved the wedding. Instead, you ruined his life. Good job, man." I didn't respond. But I was done being quiet. I started small. Just a few conversations. I met up with Kayla's sister, who reached out to me privately. "I heard some of the stuff Ray said about you," she said. "Didn't sound right." I told her everything. The demands. The lies. The fact that he was living off others and manipulating the truth. She said, "That makes sense. He told Kayla you were going to give him the money, then backed out at the last second." I said he never even asked politely. He just assumed I would. Turns out, Kayla was still in touch with Ray barely. She hadn't fully blocked him yet. Still unsure, still hurt. She didn't know who to believe. So I sent her a message. Nothing mean. Just the truth. I forwarded the text where he uninvited me, then added, "This is what really happened. I wish you the best, but I'm done with him." She never replied. But she read it. A week later, I heard from Kayla's dad. He called me. "You told my daughter the truth." "Thank you. We were starting to think we were the crazy ones." I said, "You're not. He lied to all of us." Then he said, "Ray's trying to get her back. Telling her he's changed. If you have anything else she should know, now's the time." I thought about it. Then I opened a folder I hadn't looked at in months. Screenshots. Texts from Ray asking for money. Voice messages where he said things like, "You owe me," and "Don't forget who always had your back growing up," which wasn't true. I sent it all. That's when things started falling apart for Ray in ways he never expected. 2 days later, Ray showed up at my apartment. No call. No text. Just a loud, angry knock at 9 p.m. I looked through the peephole and sighed. He looked like hell. Beard untrimmed, eyes bloodshot, clothes wrinkled like he'd been sleeping in them. I opened the door just enough to block him from coming in. "What do you want, Ray?" "You just couldn't let it go, huh?" he growled. "Had to make me look like a piece of shit to Kayla's family. Had to show her those messages." "I showed her the truth," I said. "You did that to yourself. You think you're so high and mighty," he spat. "Always been like that. Since we were kids." "I stayed out of your way," I said. "You're the one who dragged me into your mess." He stepped closer, almost trying to wedge his foot in the door. "You ruined everything." She was starting to come back around. "Then you had to go running your mouth." I didn't flinch. "She deserves to know who she was about to marry. You lied to her. Over and over." He stared at me, breathing heavy. Then he looked down, shook his head, and said quietly, "I lost everything." I waited. Didn't say a word. She blocked me. Her whole family blocked me. Max kicked me out after I borrowed money from his girlfriend and didn't pay it back. I'm sleeping in my car. I stared at him. "Then maybe it's time you stop blaming everyone else and start fixing your own life." He looked up at me, his eyes glassy. "I got nothing left, man." "Then you better start from there." I closed the door. I thought that was the end of it. But Ray wasn't done. The next morning, I walked outside to head to work and found my car keyed. Deep scratches down both sides. Not random, deliberate. Words. One side said, "Traitor." The other, "Family first." I knew exactly who did it. I filed a police report. The security cam from my building caught the whole thing. Ray, in a hoodie, middle of the night. Clear as day. They picked him up the next afternoon. He spent the weekend in jail. Vandalism, trespassing. He had no money for bail. No one would post for him. I sure didn't. Kayla found out, finally, that he'd keyed my car. That he lied. That he used her. She reached out to me. "Thank you," she said, "for telling me the truth. For not letting him drag you down with him." We talked for a while. She said she was starting fresh. Moving to Portland. New job, new place. Said she felt stupid for believing him for so long. I told her not to. People like Ray are good at what they do. They know how to play the victim. But even with all that, I thought maybe, just maybe, Ray would finally hit bottom and get it together. I was wrong. Because 2 weeks later, I got an email from my boss. Subject: Urgent HR matter. Inside, a complaint had been filed against me, anonymous, accusing me of fraud, time theft, and harassment. It was all fake. But it caused a whole investigation at work. HR had to pull my records. My manager had to sit me down. It all traced back to the IP address used at a public library just outside of town. I knew Ray didn't have Wi-Fi or a home computer. But a library? That would do it. I couldn't prove it was him, but I knew. It had his desperation written all over it. And if he thought that was going to stop me, he didn't know how far I was willing to go. I was done playing defense. For months, I tried to stay quiet, take the high road, be the bigger person. But Ray didn't stop. The lies, the manipulation, the damage, he kept coming like it was my fault his life fell apart. So I went on offense. First, I hired a lawyer. Not a lawsuit yet, but just enough to draft a cease and desist letter with a very clear threat. If any further harassment came from Ray, directly or through anyone else, we would pursue a restraining order and press charges for everything on record. The car vandalism, the false HR report, and even older debt scams he pulled on family members that they were too ashamed to talk about. I hand-delivered the letter to his mother's house, where I knew he was crashing now, just as he came out the front door. He saw the envelope, turned pale. "What's this?" He mumbled. Your last warning, I said. Next time you come for me, I'm going to ruin what's left of your life. I won't just press charges, I'll go public. I'll make sure your face shows up when people Google your name. He stared at me, jaw tight, like he wanted to swing but knew better. Then I said something I'd been holding in for years. You didn't lose everything because I didn't give you money, Ray. You lost it because you kept taking from people until they had nothing left for you. I walked away. He stayed quiet for a while after that. Weeks went by. No calls. No texts. No whispers from family. I thought maybe he finally got the message. Until my mom called again. She was crying. Ray stole from your aunt. What? He broke into her bedroom while she was at work. Took her emergency cash, her late husband's watch, some old jewelry she was saving for her granddaughter. They caught him on a neighbor's ring cam. Cops arrested him the next morning. He was charged with burglary and theft. Because of his past record, it wasn't going to be a slap on the wrist. This time, no one bailed him out. No one even showed up at the hearing. Not his mom. Not his cousins. Definitely not me. I watched the whole thing online. He looked small in that courtroom. Not just physically, defeated. Like a man who had finally run out of lies. They gave him 18 months. At first, I felt nothing. Just numb relief. But then the guilt came. Not for what I'd done, but for what I'd let happen. See, I made a mistake too. I thought if I ignored him, if I just stayed out of it, Ray would burn himself out. I was wrong. I let him get away with too much for too long. Maybe if I'd spoken up earlier, Kayla wouldn't have wasted 2 years with him. Maybe Aunt Marlene wouldn't have been robbed by her own son. I stayed silent for too long. I let the damage spread because it was easier than confronting it. I let him poison our family. And when I finally fought back, it was already too late. But I did one last thing. I went to Kayla. She had just moved into her new place in Portland. New job, new haircut, new energy. I told her everything. Every last detail. She cried, not because she missed Ray, but because she finally felt free of him. Then she looked at me and said, "You know what the worst part is? I almost married that man. I almost tied my life to someone who would have ruined me." I nodded. "Yeah, but you didn't. And that's the revenge right there." She smiled. And for the first time in a long time, I did too. Ray? He's still inside, last I heard. Nobody visits. Nobody writes. He wanted me to pay for his wedding. Instead, I made sure he paid for everything else.